What does algo trading actually look like? What we do is essentially test millions and millions of ideas. We're just concerned with how they actually perform and validating their robustness. And over the past 30 days, we are up $6,900 on it. What does algo trading actually look like? There is a lot of ways to go about algo trading, but personally we go with the data mining approach. And what data mining approach means is that you aren't necessarily trying to come up with ideas and theories of how the market works, you know, how you believe price moves and the market operates. What we do is essentially test millions and millions of ideas using tons and tons of features, literally hundreds and hundreds of features. And we don't really care about exactly what it's doing. We put in guidelines in it, but a lot of these strats that you'll see here, I wouldn't be able to tell you the exact logic behind it. I know roughly how they work, but we aren't concerned with the creation of ideas and how the EAs work. We're just concerned with how they actually perform and validating their robustness. So let's give you a more in-depth look at what they actually look like. I take quite an aggressive approach to the amount of EAs that I have on. So this means over here, you can see I have roughly 25 EAs over here. On the left, these are all the live ones. You can see market execution. Anyone that don't say market execution means pending orders. You can see it across a fair few assets. If we have a look at what this actually looks like and the recent performance, we can see this is the past 30 days. And over the past 30 days, we are up $6,900 on it. So what do these trades actually look like? As I said, because I have a lot of EAs running, we have quite a fair few trades. We can have a look at the open trades that have incredibly nicely captured this entire run up on NASDAQ. I also operate on an exit on Friday method because especially during these turbulent times, I don't want to be holding over the weekend, whether, you know, some country gets bombed or some huge political announcement comes out over the weekend, which it does at the moment. So you can see, luckily, I got an absolute perfect exit on a lot of my systems this past weekend, and then we picked it back up along the bottom. So just in case you're new to MT5, a blue arrow means where the position was opened and a red arrow means where it was closed. What you're seeing is a long only portfolio at the moment. So all of the blues are longs, and then you see where it gets dragged to is the close. For example, you can see this one here closed about here on one of these two. So if we have a little scroll back, if we disable chart scroll, we can go back in time. We can see that we did have a little bit of a rough period on the collapse during this. I think we went down 1% or 2% during this. Some of the pullbacks did operate nicely. When the market turned to quite favorable conditions, we really extracted some nice profit and more than made up for any losses. If we have a look at another one, because we were looking at NAS, let's just take a look at gold, for example. We can see some of the recent positions on here. Again, a little bit of a turbulence during the downtrend. Luckily, it kind of turned itself off and then stopped looking for buys before the big drop. But one of the great things about algo trading is because we're not buying and holding. During this drop, gold went down, you know, from, what is it, 5,400 for at its peak, all the way down to 4,000. So about a 24% decrease. During this time, we only experienced, you know, 2 or 3% drawdown. So almost 10 times less than the actual market on buy and hold. And then when it had its run upwards, we more than made up for it. So you can see all the positions they're taking. And if we had a look at another one, we can see a more futures based portfolio over here. On this one, it is futures. But we still host from MT5 just because the platform that we use is built to export the source code to MT4, MT5, trade, and multi-charts. But we're used to MT5, so what we do is we deploy an MT5 and we copy over to, you know, Tradeovate or any of these platforms that you're using for future traders. So we can see this performance was actually phenomenal. We were really, really impressed. You can see this lifetime is about 4.5%. And I believe the first trade was just at the start of March. So basically launching at quite a rough period in time. Pretty much the market just dropped during that time from the day that we start. And it actually has made a very nice 4.5% profit during even this turbulent market, which is absolutely fantastic. The main difference that we're doing for futures side of things is just trying to comply with a lot of the prop firm rules where you have to exit at the end of the day. The underlying systems and logic is pretty much the same, because at the end of the day, we are just trading NASDAQ. We just have to switch from the CFD rules, which are a lot more flexible. You know, you can hold weekends, you can hold overnight, all of these things, to much more strict ones. You know, you got to shut by New York close. So pretty similar on this. We also set up a gold portfolio, and again, lovely results on this. So this is one of the things that you can expect and what algo trading can look like, especially if you take a strategy quant approach, and especially if you take a larger portfolio approach as opposed to just a couple.